You're watching Daily News on Allnews Nigeria. I am Okoyemi. With me. Here are the headlines for today. Tinubu repays EUROBOND debts from past administration. Tinubu seeks 500 billion naira loan for palliatives. Customs confirms not all borders are being opened. Welcome back. Now the news. The federal government, through the Debt Management Office, DMO, has redeemed a $500 million Eurobond on its due date on July 12, 2023. The Eurobond was issued in July 2013 as part of a dual tranche of $1 billion Eurobond for a tenure of 10 years at a coupon of 6.375% per annum. Eurobond is a debt instrument that's denominated in a currency other than the home currency of the country or market in which it is issued. By redeeming this volume of Eurobonds on their due dates, DMO argued that Nigeria's successful redemption of its Eurobonds and diaspora bond in the ICM over the past 6 years is a demonstration of its strong debt management operations and planning. Redeeming a Eurobond means that Nigeria is repaying the principal amounts of the bond along with any outstanding interest payment before or immediately upon the bond's maturity date. Now, what is Eurobond? A Eurobond is a type of bond issued in a currency other than the currency of the country where it is issued. In this case, Nigeria issued a $1.8 billion Eurobond, which means it borrowed $1.8 billion from international investors by issuing bonds denominated in a foreign currency such as the US dollar or the euro. When Nigeria redeems a Eurobond, it uses its own funds or obtains new financing to repay the bond holders. Typically, a country redeems a Eurobond by utilizing its foreign exchange reserves, obtaining loans, or issuing new bonds. The repayment process involves returning the principal amount borrowed, along with any interest payments that have been accrued, in this case, 6.375% per annum. Now, what's the implication of the Eurobond? The redemption of a Eurobond affects Nigeria's total debt profile in several ways. Firstly, by redeeming the Eurobond, Nigeria reduces its overall debt obligations by the principal amount of $1.8 billion. This can help improve the country's debt sustainability and reduce the burden of servicing the debt. Secondly, redeeming the Eurobond may have implications for Nigeria's foreign exchange reserves. If the country uses its foreign exchange reserves to repay the bond, it could deplete its reserves or reduce the buffer it has to support the local currency and manage external obligations. The redemption of Eurobond can also impact Nigeria's creditworthiness and borrowing costs. As Nigeria has successfully redeemed the Eurobond, it can enhance its reputation in international financial markets. This, in turn, may lead to improved investor confidence and potentially lower borrowing costs in the future. Meanwhile, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has written to the National Assembly seeking an amendment to the 2022 Supplementary Appropriation Act to allow the government to source 500 billion naira. The fund is to source for funds to provide necessary palliatives to cushion the effects of the recent removal of fuel subsidy in Nigeria.
I write to request the approval of the House of Representatives for the amendment of the 2022 Supplementary Appropriation Act in accordance with the attached. The request has become necessary in order to, among other things, source for funds necessary to provide palliatives to mitigate the effect of the recent removal of fuel subsidy on Nigerians. Thus, the sum of 500 billion naira only has been extracted from the 2022 Supplementary Appropriation Act of 819 billion 536 million 937,815 naira only for the provisions of palliatives to Nigerians to cushion the effects of fuel subsidy removal.
The president requests to be considered by the lawmakers on Thursday, July 13, 2023. Tinubu on Wednesday in Abuja assured Nigerians that the framework for palliatives to remedy the effects of fuel subsidy removal was being worked out. He assured that the decision was in the best interest of the country especially in granting future prosperity. President Tinubu, who received 18 governors who served as governor at the same time as him, class of 1999, at the presidential villa, appealed for more patience from Nigerians. He said the government would increase efforts, speed up the process, and ensure a foolproof social security structure that would not be compromised, especially in cash transfer. Finally, on the news, the acting Comptroller General of the Nigerian Customs Service, NCS, Mr. Wale Adeniyi, has revealed that not all the nation's land borders have been reopened. The acting CG also affirmed that there have been seizures of smuggled fuel at the borders and that it will take some time before the issue of smuggling of fuel across the border will completely dissipate.
Well, it is not true that all Nigerian borders have been opened. The situation, the status quo ante still existing in the borders. If you remember that the borders were completely shut down 2018 up until 2021-22, when some selected strategic borders were reopened. That is still the situation as we speak, and this was why we had an ad hoc arrangement of a special unit coordinated by the Office of the NSA to enforce that border closure. But as we speak, about 5 of them have been reopened. 4 were initially reopened and 2 more were opened after that, and that is still the situation. There are ongoing processes to review this situation against the objective of the border closure itself, and the processes are not yet completed. And of course, when the borders are reopened, it's not going to be subject of rumor in any way.
Fielding questions from the State House correspondent after a meeting with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the presidential villa in Abuja, he said the federal government had not ordered that all land borders across the country should be opened. Recall that there have been speculations that the president had approved the reopening of all land borders upon his inauguration in office. And that's it on today's news. To keep up with All News Nigeria, kindly follow us on all social media platforms displayed on the screen. We'll be back with more news updates. Until then, stay tuned. I am Okpeyemi Olubemi. Do have a lovely day.